Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video will be a complete guide on how to play Tulen. In this video, I'll be covering all the basic abilities of Tulen as well as I'll be giving you some tips on how to play him. And also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to check out my other videos as well. We have a lot of tutorials, guides, top 5s and top 10s in the channel. And if you find these videos entertaining and helpful, make sure to support me by hitting the subscribe button. Now with all that out of the way, let's get right into the tutorial. Every time Tulen lands an ability on an enemy hero, a minion or a creep, he gains 1 stack. Upon gaining 5 stacks, Tulen gains 5 bolts of thunder which he can use to deal damage. These stacks can be seen below his HP bar. These bolts also trigger the passive of his equipments like boomstick, so in the late game, just hitting 1 bolt on the enemy can deal a lot of damage. If you have the 5 bolts of lightning, it will automatically target the closest enemy hero and also any creep that is on aggression. This is Tulen's passive, and here it says that if more than 1 lightning bolt hits the same target within 1 second, the damage dealt by the subsequent bolts will be reduced by 20%. But this is a very big mistake. Watch carefully and see what happens. The first bolt deals 231 damage, whereas all the remaining 4 deal only 46. So what actually happens here is that the subsequent bolts only deal 20% of damage, but in the description of the ability, it says that it deals 20% lesser damage, but actually it deals 80% lesser damage. So in order to maximize the amount of damage you deal with his passive, what you have to do is let 1 bolt hit the enemy and then come out of the range, and after 1 second if you go back and hit another bolt on them, it deals 100% damage. So this is how you have to deal as much damage as possible with Tulen's bolts. Tulen fires 3 lightning bolts in the targeted direction which deal damage to all the enemies in their path. If more than 1 bolt hits the same target, the damage dealt by the other 2 bolts is reduced by 30%. You can see that here, when 1 bolt hits Thane, it deals 360 damage, 358 now, and if I make all the 3 hit him, it deals only 566 overall. Tulen dashes forward and deals damage to all the enemies in his starting position and in his ending position. If an enemy gets hit in the starting position and also in the ending position, the damage from the second time is reduced by 50%. You can gain up to a maximum of 2 stacks from this ability, and this ability can be used to go through walls, and also it can be stored up to 3 times. Tulen charges and launches a Thunderbird which deals damage to the target and also deals additional damage equal to 30% of the target's lost HP. If the Thunderbird kills an enemy hero upon contact, the cooldown of the ability is reduced by 80% and Tulen instantly gains the 5 bolts of lightning from his passive. If the hero who has been locked by the Thunderbird dies even before the Thunderbird hits them, only the ability cooldown is reduced by 80%, but Tulen doesn't get the passive bolts. You should also keep in mind that this ability can be blocked by another hero if they stand in the way. In that case, the ability goes into cooldown and doesn't get reset. Now let me give you guys some advanced tips on how to play Tulen. The biggest problem that most of the people face when playing Tulen is that he doesn't have a lot of range and his first ability goes very slow and can be quite easily dodged and very hard to hit in the late game. But Tulen is very powerful in the early game because he deals a lot of damage, a lot more damage than most of the other mages in the early game. Even in the late game, his damage is unprecedented, but the problem is his range. In order to compensate for it, You have to stay as far as possible in team fights and try to land your S1 if possible, or if someone gets low you can use your ult, get a kill and get the passive and then engage into the fight. Tulen deals so much damage in the late game that just one passive bolt and your ult will be able to finish off a marksman or a mage. One more important thing you should know about your ult is that when you turn on your ult, your first ability will be locked but your second ability will still be available. You can use it to position yourself to snipe the enemy heroes who try to hide behind their tank when you use your ult on them. So whenever you play Tulen, try to play as aggressive as possible in the early game because that's when he shines the most, and try to end the game as soon as possible because in the late game the marksman will easily kill you because you don't have a lot of range and you can never be able to close the gap between you and the marksman effectively. So that's it for the video guys. I hope you all found it useful, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button and have a nice day.